Summary of Chapter 3 of You Become What You Think. Chapter 3 of You Become What You Think focuses on the connection between mindset, action, and personal transformation. While the earlier chapters explain the power of thoughts and beliefs, this chapter emphasizes that thinking alone is not enough. Real change happens when positive thinking is combined with disciplined action, emotional control, and persistence. The chapter teaches readers that every successful person develops the ability to control the mind during difficult situations. According to the author, life challenges are unavoidable, but the way a person responds to them determines growth or failure. The central message of this chapter is, your future is created by the thoughts you repeatedly believe and the actions you consistently take. 1. Action gives power to thoughts. The chapter begins by explaining that thoughts become meaningful only when supported by action. Many people dream about success, imagine a better future, or talk positively, but never take consistent action. As a result, nothing changes. The author says that positive thinking without action becomes only wishful thinking. For example, a student may wish for good marks but refuse to study regularly. A person may want good health but avoid exercise and discipline. Someone may dream of success but fear taking risks. The chapter explains that successful people do not wait endlessly for perfect conditions. They start with small actions and improve gradually. Thoughts create direction, but action creates results too. Small steps create big changes. One of the important lessons in the chapter is the importance of small, consistent progress. The author explains that many people fail because they expect immediate transformation. When results do not appear quickly, they become discouraged. Real growth happens slowly through repeated effort. Examples: reading a few pages daily increases knowledge, exercising regularly improves health, practicing communication improves confidence, saving money consistently improves financial security. The chapter teaches that consistency is more powerful than temporary motivation. A person does not become successful overnight. Success is built through daily habits and repeated discipline. 3. The comfort zone prevents growth. A major topic in Chapter 3 is the danger of living inside a comfort zone. The comfort zone is described as a mental state where people avoid risk, uncertainty, challenges, and discomfort. Although comfort feels safe, it often prevents improvement. The author explains that many individuals remain stuck in life because they fear change. Examples include avoiding new opportunities, refusing to learn new skills, fearing criticism, staying silent because of low confidence. The chapter says growth begins when people challenge fear and move beyond familiar limitations. Every achievement requires temporary discomfort. 4. Failure is part of learning. The chapter strongly discusses failure and its role in personal development. According to the author, many people are destroyed emotionally by failure because they interpret it incorrectly. Instead of seeing failure as feedback or experience, they see it as proof that they are incapable. The chapter teaches, failure is not permanent, mistakes are part of growth, and setbacks are opportunities to improve. The author explains that successful people also experience rejection, criticism, and defeat. The difference is that they continue learning instead of quitting. Failure becomes dangerous only when a person loses hope and stops trying. 5. Fear of judgment weakens confidence. Another important theme in the chapter is the fear of other people's opinions. The author explains that many individuals hide their talents, avoid expressing themselves, or stop chasing goals because they fear criticism and judgment. People worry about what others will say, whether they will look foolish, or whether they will fail publicly. The chapter teaches that living according to other people's opinions destroys individuality and confidence. The author encourages readers to focus more on self-growth than external approval. No matter what a person does, criticism will always exist. Therefore, people should not allow fear of judgment to stop progress. 6. Discipline is stronger than motivation. A very important lesson in Chapter 3 is the difference between motivation and discipline. Motivation is temporary. It changes according to emotions and circumstances. Discipline, however, creates consistency even when motivation disappears. The author explains that successful people work even when they feel lazy, continue learning during difficult periods, and remain focused despite distractions. Examples of discipline include waking up on time, controlling unnecessary habits, maintaining routines, practicing regularly, and staying committed to goals. The chapter says discipline trains the mind to act responsibly instead of emotionally. 7. The mind must be controlled. The chapter repeatedly emphasizes mental control. According to the author, an uncontrolled mind becomes distracted, fearful, emotional, and weak. Many people allow temporary emotions to control their decisions. Anger leads to regret, fear prevents action, jealousy creates negativity, laziness destroys opportunities. The author encourages readers to become observers of their thoughts and emotions. Mental strength develops when a person learns patience, emotional control, and focused thinking. The chapter explains that inner control creates outer stability. 8. Negative habits slowly destroy potential. The chapter discusses how harmful habits slowly weaken life. Negative habits may appear small initially, but repeated daily they become powerful. Examples include procrastination, negative self-talk, excessive complaining, laziness, overthinking, and constant comparison. The author says habits create personality over time. A person who repeatedly delays action trains the brain to avoid responsibility. Similarly, a person who practices discipline trains the brain for productivity and growth. The chapter encourages readers to examine daily habits honestly because habits determine future outcomes. 9. Positive thinking does not mean ignoring reality. An important clarification in the chapter is that positive thinking does not mean pretending problems do not exist. Instead, positive thinking means facing problems calmly, believing improvement is possible, focusing on solutions, and refusing to lose hope. The author explains that mentally strong people also experience difficulties, sadness, and failure. However, they do not allow temporary problems to completely control their mindset. Positive thinking is shown as realistic optimism rather than blind fantasy. 10. Patience is necessary for success. The chapter also highlights patience. Modern people often want instant success, instant money, instant recognition, and immediate results. The author explains that impatience creates frustration and emotional instability. Real achievement takes time, practice, mistakes, learning, and persistence. The chapter encourages readers to trust gradual progress instead of becoming discouraged by slow results. Patience helps people remain emotionally balanced during difficult phases. 11. Self-confidence is built through action. The chapter explains that confidence is not created only by thinking positively. Confidence grows through taking action, facing challenges, learning from mistakes, and proving to oneself that growth is possible. A person who avoids every challenge never develops true confidence. The author encourages readers to try new things, speak despite nervousness, and continue improving despite imperfections. Action reduces fear and strengthens belief. 12. Surround yourself with positive energy. The chapter again discusses the influence of environment. The people around us affect emotions, thinking habits, and confidence. Negative people often spread hopelessness, criticism, jealousy, excuses, and fear. Positive people inspire ambition, growth, discipline, and motivation. The author advises readers to spend more time with people who encourage learning and improvement. 13. Gratitude creates inner peace. Another lesson in the chapter is gratitude. The author explains that people who constantly complain remain mentally dissatisfied even after achieving success. Gratitude changes focus from scarcity to abundance, frustration to appreciation, negativity to peace. The chapter encourages readers to appreciate health, relationships, opportunities, knowledge, and personal progress. Grateful thinking improves emotional balance and reduces unnecessary stress. 14. Your future depends on daily choices. Toward the end of the chapter, the author explains that destiny is shaped by daily choices. Every day people choose whether to think positively or negatively, whether to act or delay, whether to learn or remain stagnant, whether to grow or remain trapped in fear. Small daily decisions eventually create major life outcomes. The The chapter teaches that successful people are not perfect. They simply make better mental and behavioral choices consistently. Main message of Chapter 3. The core message of Chapter 3 is thoughts become powerful only when combined with disciplined action and persistence. The author wants readers to understand that mindset matters, but action is essential. Discipline creates transformation, and growth requires courage. Fear, laziness, and self-doubt weaken human potential, while consistency, patience, and self-belief strengthen it. Final conclusion. Chapter 3 of You Become What You Think teaches that personal transformation requires more than motivation. Real success comes from controlling the mind, building discipline, taking action, and continuing despite failure or fear. The chapter encourages readers to leave comfort zones, stop fearing criticism, build productive habits, and remain patient during the journey of growth. The entire chapter can be summarized in one sentence. Your life changes when your thoughts, habits, and actions begin working together toward growth and improvement.